oh my goodness, this is rather interesting that Sue Bird has brought this up to Kelsey Mitchell in light of some of the drama from a couple of days ago when Stephanie White was very clear and there was no confusion looking at anybody out there, including people on YouTube, that may think that was misconstrued, even though Stephanie White is the one that said these things. And I'm not going to go after specific YouTubers because that's not what I do. But the idea that people weren't going to take her words literally.
Stephanie White's words hit like a wrecking ball. Kelsey Mitchell is our absolute priority. In that moment, everything changed. What should have sounded like praise instantly ignited chaos, painting a target on a relationship no one thought was fragile. Fans couldn't believe it, the Fever's own coach seemingly sidelining the league's most transformative rookie? This wasn't strategy, it was a declaration that rattled the entire fan base. Overnight, it turned into a firestorm of loyalty wars, roster politics, and speculation about the team's true direction. And beneath the outrage, one truth became impossible to ignore: this was more than coaching philosophy. It was a defining moment that would reshape the Fever's future and expose the fractures nobody saw coming.
It was easy to see this coming, like clockwork really, because Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell complement each other, on the floor and off the floor. They complement each other on the floor as the most dangerous duo in the WNBA, the most fearsome backcourt. Clark's ability to control the game, shoot from deep, bring the defense out, dice you up with the passes, get to the cup. Kelsey Mitchell's ability to just score in microwave fashion, unstoppable, so fast, back cuts, getting up and down the floor, breaking you down off boogie moves. Together, it's essentially unstoppable. Even one or the other is unstoppable at times. So the
drama exploded the moment Stephanie White doubled down on her stance. She wanted to build the Fever around Kelsey Mitchell. Instantly, the backlash was fierce. Fans and analysts alike couldn't believe it. How do you sideline a generational, Jordan-level talent like Caitlin Clark to prioritize anyone else? That's not team chemistry, that's sabotage disguised as strategy. The move felt less like building balance and more like drawing battle lines within the locker room. Across sports history, great coaches have always built around their superstar, not the supporting cast. By going the opposite route, White exposed a deep philosophical divide, one that now threatens to define the Fever's entire identity and shake the foundation of what could have been a true dynasty. Next Viacy. Critics wasted no time drawing parallels to history's great teams, and the comparison wasn't kind. The Chicago Bulls didn't build around Scottie Pippen, they built around Michael Jordan. The Blazers didn't crown Terry Porter, they built around Clyde Drexler. Even the legendary Celtics, stacked with Hall of Famers, still centered everything around Larry Bird, not Kevin McHale. So why, in the year 2025, would the Indiana Fever choose to build around anyone but Caitlin Clark? This isn't just a matter of opinion, it's a clash between logic and leadership. When you're handed a generational, franchise-defining player, the blueprint is simple: you build around her. Instead, Stephanie White's declaration felt like a stunning act of basketball heresy, a decision that left fans, analysts, and even rival coaches questioning whether Indiana truly understands the magnitude of the talent they have.
It's the building around Kelsey Mitchell that I took issue with, because you got a generational Jordan-like talent on this team in Caitlin Clark. The Bulls did not choose to build around Scottie Pippen. All right? Look. The Blazers weren't building around Terry Porter. They were building around Clyde Drexler. The Knicks weren't building around Anthony Mason or John Starks or Derek Harper. They were building around Patrick Ewing. We could go on.
Adding more fuel to the growing controversy, Amber Cox, another major figure within the organization, stepped in and publicly reinforced the message. She made it clear that re-signing Kelsey Mitchell remained the Fever's #1 priority. At first glance, that sounded like a reasonable move for a franchise trying to keep a key player entering free agency. But coming right after Stephanie White's already divisive comments, it felt less like a standard business statement and more like a sign of deeper strategic confusion. Fans and analysts quickly began to wonder if the Fever truly understood the once-in-a-generation opportunity they had in Caitlin Clark, and the immense responsibility that came with it.
MVP Kelsey t-shirts, apparently her idea, right? Like that's all part of this. So these narratives that come into play are increasingly ridiculous, and increasingly, basically just fueled by nonsense. And Sue Bird had Kelsey Mitchell on her podcast. And basically, Sue talked to Kelsey about the setup for this was how difficult it is to deal with some of the narratives, because when you have a figure like Caitlin Clark who comes in, it is indeed so transformative, meaning, the entire dynamics of things can change as far as...
Yet in the middle of all the chaos, backlash, and confusion surrounding the organization, an unexpected voice stepped forward, Kelsey Mitchell herself. Appearing on Sue Bird's well-respected Bird's Eye podcast, Mitchell broke her silence and addressed the rumors head-on. She calmly dismantled the swirling narratives about tension within the team and her dynamic with Caitlin Clark. What she shared stood in sharp contrast to the media's picture of ego battles and locker room divides. Mitchell spoke honestly about the natural adjustment period that comes with integrating a player of Clark's magnitude, but her words carried respect, patience, and perspective, not bitterness. Her thoughtful tone flipped the story entirely, turning what looked like conflict into a lesson in growth and mutual understanding.
Coach.
In your locker room. So what do you think, or do you feel like people sometimes just overlook your leadership specifically and your impact on the team from a chemistry standpoint, because there's just so many narratives? So do you think people are overlooking that?
I think that in a short, yeah. I think naturally, yes, because of the society, the social media, and how bad, people take to social media and abuse it in the wrong realm of light. And so I think that's one part of it. But I also think that
covering basketball teams is now abusing.
Mitchell's comments about Caitlin Clark delivered a powerful counterpunch to the media's swirl of speculation. She spoke with conviction, describing Clark as humble and grounded, someone who was never bigger than the program. There was no diva attitude, no attempt to outshine teammates, just a player focused on building chemistry and fitting seamlessly into the system. Mitchell's honest, heartfelt perspective cut straight through the noise, dismantling the idea of an internal feud. Her words exposed a reality far different from the public narrative, a team not divided by egos, but united by mutual respect and shared purpose.
Clark, who comes in, it is indeed so transformative, meaning, the entire dynamics of things can change as far as the amount of attention, what is being said. It's just yesterday is not the same as today when there is that kind of sea change. Here's what Kelsey Mitchell had to say in response, at least part.
That was big for everybody. Pacers Entertainment, People Organization. I felt like at that time, there was a lot of, role playing that had to be, situated. I feel like, when something that big or someone that big who has that much impact comes into something, there are a lot of...
Kelsey Mitchell took it a step further, explaining how Caitlin Clark's playing style didn't compete with hers, it complemented it, along with Aaliyah Boston's game as well. This wasn't about one star outshining another, it was about a fluid, connected style of basketball built on trust and rhythm. Mitchell spoke highly of Clark's relentless love for the game, pointing out that her passion never faded, even when she was sidelined by injury. Coming from a veteran who could have easily felt overshadowed, this level of respect carried real weight. It completely flipped the narrative, showing not division or jealousy, but genuine admiration and team chemistry far stronger than anyone outside the locker room had realized.
People Organization. I felt like at that time, there was a lot of, role playing that had to be, situated. I feel like, when something that big or someone that big who has that much impact comes into something, there are a lot of adjustments that people have to make on the floor, off the floor, in the locker room, in the training room. Just a lot of stuff is a lot of moving parts. And I think the biggest part that I respected about Caitlin is that she never was bigger than the program. I don't know if that makes sense, but it wasn't like she wasn't trying to take over. It wasn't...
The personal side of their connection came to light when Mitchell revealed that she sees Caitlin Clark as like my little sister. She talked about how the two often bond over basketball, sharing laughs, exchanging ideas, and even playfully teasing each other. This wasn't just professional courtesy, it was genuine friendship built on mutual love for the game. Their relationship, filled with warmth and authenticity, stood in sharp contrast to the cold, exaggerated drama spun by certain media outlets. What truly stunned fans wasn't tension or rivalry, but just how close and supportive their bond really was behind the scenes.
What I respected about Caitlin is that she never was bigger than the program. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, it wasn't like she wasn't trying to take over. It wasn't, I don't know how to explain that. You know what I'm trying to say though?
Yeah, no, I know what you're trying to say. It's like she knows who she is. She comes in. She's going to obviously do her part because that's what being a professional athlete is. But with the understanding of fitting into a team, making sure we fit, making sure we have chemistry. So it's never bigger than like the group
it's like
itself.
She wasn't trying to be bigger than everybody. Like within our locker room, she wasn't trying to be bigger than anyone else. And I think the way that her style.
This powerful sense of unity among the players stood in sharp contrast to what appeared to be a major strategic misstep from the coaching staff and front office. While Stephanie White's comments seemed to unintentionally set stars against each other by publicly prioritizing one, the players themselves continued to display remarkable cohesion and mutual respect. The real shock wasn't any locker room feud, it was the clear disconnect between the organization's public messaging about the team and the genuine harmony within it. That gap in understanding created unnecessary tension, leaving fans puzzled as to how such an immensely talented roster could be undermined by its own leadership's mixed signals.